shoulders conversation, and Brian B mentioned if you were 200 pounds and had something wrong with your face,
would you still like try to be a Hooters girl?
Yeah, and I think that, you know, that opens up the conversation about women and how they view themselves,
self-confidence,
and in relationships and outside of relationships. It's kind of hard being a woman and really having full self-confidence because of everything that's coming at you in the media, from your friends. What do you guys think as far as, you know, confidence? Does it go down when you're in a relationship?
I mean,
does it negatively affect you?
I think it depends on like how much confidence you have going into the relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you are getting into a relationship with low confidence, it's gonna mess everything up. Like things aren't gonna go the way you want it to go.
Or if you have low self-esteem, or you're like super depressed, and then you get into a relationship and all of a sudden you're super happy with that person, they always make you like really happy, and then you find when you're not around them you're at your all-time lows and everything, and that person becomes a crutch for you basically, and so that is very unhealthy. And I haven't even been in a relationship, but I just know from seeing it, like from, you know, my peers at school and everything, and they be too young talking about the issues that they be going through. And I'm just like, all this over a 15-year-old?
Married couple problems.
Exactly.
But you're not even out of school yet.
Like, they're talking about, like, ride or die. Like, you are
right until you make a wrong turn.
Right, obviously.
Time to get out this car.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think that everyone kind of goes through that. Well, maybe not you, Gigi, because you kind of already see what your friends are going through. By the time they're 18, they've already been through some relationships, and some of them are horrific because you have no idea what you're really looking for. You just know you like boys. You want to be with boys. Boys are so awesome.
Thinking about boys.
And then you get with them, and you know you don't know yourself. They don't know themselves. They have certain things that they want out of a relationship. All you're thinking about is like, I want someone to hold me, call me pretty, call me cute, I want to hold hands with a hot guy. And then you're with that hot guy, he doesn't pay you attention, or he only wants to have sex with you. And then you're just like, oh my gosh, like my boyfriend's the worst. He doesn't show me attention, he doesn't love me. High schoolers that say I love you. Middle schoolers that say I love you to their girlfriends.
I was like, do you know who would love you?
Are you okay? Do you love yourself? Do you even know?
No, honestly though, but I think that when you're in a relationship, like you both have to have a level of self-confidence, or else like there's gonna be a disconnect. One person is gonna be more confident than the other. Then they feel like, oh, I gotta lift this person up along with myself, and then it brings them down.
Yeah, it gets tiring after a while, and you just like it becomes to a point where like you're caring for that person more than like they're caring for you, and you feel like you've been carrying this person's like, I don't want to say slack or whatever, but like you feel responsible for their happiness, or
you're carrying the team.
Yeah, you're making somebody else responsible for your happiness, and so yeah, it's basically
that's how people get into entanglements.
Oh my goodness.
But seriously though, I mean, not knowing yourself, not knowing what makes you happy, not being happy yourself, and then getting into a relationship expecting that person to make you happy. I'm only happy with this person. That's not real happiness.
It's really not.
And that shows in your relationship. The other person's going to realize it. It's either going to put more stress on them or just on your relationship in general, because a lot of people aren't going to deal with that, especially when you're older. A lot of older men and women are like, yo, I don't want to deal with it. Like, come back in a couple years when you know what you want, like when you know yourself.
Yeah. But I feel like, the cupcake phase is like something that everybody talks about, but it's real.
I thought you were about to be like, it's like not real, because I was about to be like, no, it's.
No,
I feel like it's real.
It is. And I feel like you don't really know like what people are actually struggling with until later down the road. So y'all might be over here, his confidence low, yours is high, and you're like, oh, we could work through it. And then over time you're going to be like, no, I don't want to do this. Like, I can't work through this. You have your own problems that you need to
Everybody
fix.
wants a shy guy until they can't order for themselves at McDonald's. Everybody wants a confident guy until they end up punching you.
Me neither. I don't like that shy guy stuff. Like,
okay,
me and Cookie are a little too similar.
I feel like
yeah, I know.
there's a line. Like I don't want a shy guy, but I want a guy that is humble. Like I want a guy that can handle his business, but also is respectful and like not sensitive, but more like reasonable when it comes to your more sensitive situations, or like is like in
you want a well-rounded, mature, well-adjusted,
like not shy,
balanced person,
but like
who has no past traumas.
I mean,
But I mean, meanwhile, I want someone who's kind of like that. See, what I want is someone who's very confident in themselves. I want someone who's funny. I want someone who's goofy like me.
You're literally just.
I know. I was like, so Brian. Oh my.
Hey, yo, lucky she got Brian B right. I'm saying.
No, but seriously, I have to say though, Brian was the first person I dated that was actually what I wanted out of someone. Because first I wanted the cocky, like, bad guy. Because they're interesting. They keep things interesting. That's really what I wanted, was someone who keeps it interesting, spontaneous, adventurous. I didn't realize that was that was not, the exact same as
they don't
the
care.
bad guy.
There's a disconnect.
However they treat other people, that's how they're going to treat you. Watch how they treat other people. Watch how they treat their family. Watch how they treat their friends. Watch how they treat their ex.
Watch how they treat their mother.
Bruh. Okay, the other day I saw a video on Instagram, and basically it was this guy and his mama in the car, and his mom was in the front seat. They were parked outside of a house, and his girl came out of the house and was telling the mom to get in the back seat.
I saw that.
And the mom was like, no, like I'm not getting in the back seat. And she was yelling at the man, talking about something, I'm your woman, like I should be in the front seat, she needs to get in the back. Yelling at him, calling him a mama's boy.
Literally, she was cussing the lady out. And here's the thing that I feel personally. I don't know about you guys, but whenever, like, if I was her, his wife, I would sit in the back. Even if I get that was her car, I get that you pay for it, but it's a level of respect.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Money don't mean nothing. This car don't mean nothing. Like, this is a person that you have to deal with as long as they're alive and as long as you're married to this person, especially if you have kids with them. So establishing
and that's
respect.
His mama, like that's his mother, and you're trying to force her into the back seat. And the fact that you were cussing at her, going off on her, calling her all the words in the book, like that's just plain disrespect, not only to her but to your man. Like
if
I was him, I would drop her.
That's what I was just about to say. If anyone disrespects my parents like that, I don't care about what it is about. If you disrespect my parents like that enough to be so bold as to curse them out,
that's too much.
You can stay on the curb. Me and my mom, me and my dad we're gonna go. You can stay here with the rest of the trash.
Oh wow, she said with the rest of the trash.
But honestly, though, I feel, and maybe it's a Southern thing. I don't really know where they were, but I just know that I'm showing my parents respect, and I would always show my significant other's parents respect. I mean, if Brian B has his dad that's about to get into a car, or his mom even, I always step out. I go into the back seat because that's just me showing my respect. I don't feel threatened. I think that's an insecurity.
Yeah.
Now, I will say there are some instances where the mom and dad just can't let go, and they just, want to keep their child, in.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like that kind of situation. And honestly, that's a situation they're going to have to deal with their own parent. That's not a situation for you to fix. You can't. But that's pure disrespect. I could never.
That video, it made me mad.
It
honestly.
baffled
Oh,
me.
yeah. I was like,
Are
you going to drive off or?
Right.
It wasn't even the fact that she wanted to sit in the front. It's just the way that she was talking to, like, his mom. Like, she had the audacity to be that disrespectful.
Call her the B word. Like, I'm sorry, but if I wouldn't say it to my own mother, I'm not saying it to her husband. I wouldn't say it to my husband's mother. I'm sorry, but nah.
Or any.
Were they even married?
It wasn't specified in the video that they were married.
Okay,
it just
no, because she said, "I'm your wife."
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
your
she
wife.
did say that. She did say that.
But then I mean that to me that just looks like you feel threatened
Yeah.
by my mom.
And who
So
knows?
they
It could
never
have been
obviously.
like something deeper behind the scenes that we didn't know about. Maybe
That's
the mother
true.
was manipulative or something. Who knows?
But that's not the power play that you want to
Yeah.
show anyway.
Yeah.
If there are underlying issues, that the front seat of the car, like that wasn't a move you should have
It's
made.
not that deep.
It would have been more of why is she here?
And why? And another thing about that is, I feel like why, as a woman, would you put your man in a situation where you're picking your mother over your wife,
Yeah.
or your wife over your mother? Like he shouldn't have to make that decision. You know?
It should never be like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you already knew there were some mama issues or whatever issues before, that's something you should have had a discussion about before you were married, before if you couldn't take it. If you knew it wasn't something you could live with, that's what happens before you get married. Marriage is like a serious situation. It's not just something like, oh, okay, whatever, or oh, everything's gonna change when we get married. Nothing changes when you get married between you, really.
Have you ever been like scared of marriage?
Yeah.
Honestly, and it's probably because I haven't really like been through enough when it comes to relationships, but personally, I'm like not afraid of that type of commitment because I just feel like, honestly, you get to know somebody for, long enough. Like, I'm not going to get married after just a year of dating you.
Right.
Like, it has to be years of me, dating you and getting to know you and really knowing your flaws, because you don't really know a person until you know a person, And so then based off of that, you know whether or not you want to spend the rest of your life with them. And so that's my 18-year-old point of view on marriage.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes people, like I said, in the cupcake stage, they can like alter themselves in a way and hide like the ugliest parts of them, and that's like the scariest thing because you don't know how long someone can like hold that.
Let's explain the cupcake stage. What is it, the cupcake stage?
Okay. To me, I feel like it's different for a lot of people. Well, not too different, but to me, it's like you're trying to make an impression. You're trying to impress this person. So it's kind of like this persona that
you're still infatuated with that person. Everything they do is like, oh my God.
Right.
Like,
So
you're doing everything right. You're only showing your good side.
Right.
Even how you're dealing with situations that make you mad.
Not
or
only
upset.
that, but the other person only sees the good because, like, even if you do have flaws, it's more of like, I'm just meeting this person, like, of course they have flaws, like, their flaws are cute and all that.
Yeah,
until it gets to a point.
This is fine.
Yeah, and then, like, after a few months, you're just like, okay, now I'm gonna punch you.
That's when you talk on the phone, you're like, OMG, are we perfect? We're like so perfect.
But I think, like, how you handle situations in the cupcake stage is so important because you can literally, someone has a problem and you're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
Look at your mic. It's hanging. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What? It wasn't even.
Oh my God. Listen, this episode is weird, okay? This episode is weird. Just accept us for who we are. Listen.
Yeah, IT tip, come on now.
IT tip.
Not IT tip, the worst host tip.
Yeah, I'm Tippy T.
But as I was saying, I feel like a lot of the ways that you handle situations and problems in the cupcake stage kind of sets the stage for the rest of the relationship because if someone's over here, let's say you don't like cursing and someone's cursing all the time and you're like, oh, it's okay, and then all of a sudden when you're comfortable with them and you're like, no, you need to stop, and like, you start getting aggressive with it, like, no, like, it's not cute, stop, then you're gonna be like, it was never a problem, leave some more problems.
I don't know why I thought of that. Can I say one of my pet peeves? That just reminded me of something, and I don't know if this is a childish way of thinking, but for a long time, even since like middle school, one of the things that will make me drop you as a friend, like completely, I just won't talk to you, like deal breaker, probably in a relationship too, most likely in a relationship, is if I tell you I don't like something, like let's say, let me just give an example. I hate being tickled, okay? It's a serious hatred that I have. If you tickle me, and I just so happen to accidentally on purpose karate chop you in the throat, it's your fault. So, you know, if I say, okay, I hate being tickled, and then you're just like, all right, you know, like blah, 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 and then you go and tickle me, and I'm just like, okay, I told you I don't like being tickled. I don't know if you forgot, but, you know, I don't like being tickled. And then you're like, okay. And then you do it again, and I'm just like, okay, I told you I don't like being tickled.
Wow.
So where do we go from here? Because I told you stop, and you keep going. So it's kind of, that's one of my pet peeves. Like if I tell you to stop doing something, or if I tell you I don't like something, and then you continue to do it, I'm gonna drop you because I can't. I can't.
But that's
deal with that.
I think that's also boundaries. Like if you have healthy boundaries for yourself and you know what you won't put up with, then you set that stage for people. So now you're excluding people in your from your circle if they tickle you, if they do things they know that you don't like. And you know, just like you were saying about the cupcake phase, during that phase a lot of people make the mistake of ignoring things that they hate, ignoring things that usually annoy them, you know, ignoring red flags even, because they're in this phase where like everything is happy, everything is good, they don't want to ruin it.
They want it to work.
They want it to work. It feels good. You're being loved, you know? So
it's kind of like when you first get in a relationship and like your boyfriend is so used to like calling females the B word, something like that.
Oh no.
And like, and you know, they, in the cupcake phase, it slips out at something. You're just like, but don't call me that. Like, that's disrespectful.
Right,
like, don't say that. And they're just like, oh, I'm sorry, babe. Like, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, it's cool. Then later on in the cupcake phase, it might slip again. And then you're just like, bruh, I told you not to call me that. And, you know, and then out of the cupcake phase, they beep. And then you're like,
then it's a problem.
where did we go wrong?
Right.
And I think that's one of the benefits of, you know, being older is you find people that understand all this. So they're not confused. They're not, you know, they already know how it goes. You know, when I met Brian, from the gate, first of all, I already said this in another episode. Yeah, I said this in another episode. We weren't supposed to be together because I was like, I'm just trying to be single. We see how that turned out. But anyway, you know, when we realized it was going somewhere and, you know, we were getting serious about each other, I was like, okay, so here are my problems. Here's a list of my problems, A, B, C, D, take it or leave it. These are my worst problems. These are the worst things you'll probably deal with. And then he'll be like, okay, well, here's my worst problems. Here's what I know I got to deal with, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. We were very open. We were very honest and upfront with each other. We still had that cupcake phase, obviously. But we were very, like, we had a sit-down conversation in the very beginning, in the very cupcakey stage of it, where we were like, okay, here's who we are. We want to stay true to ourselves, but also, you know, understand that we have to mesh to be together. Here's, you know.
That's one thing that you will probably never see in, like, teenage relationships, because boys are just not mature. Like, they're not. And people always ask me, like, why haven't you had a relationship in high school and blah, blah, blah. And number one, because nobody liked me first. But
actually,
second,
I knew.
Okay, moving on. No, let's not talk about that.
He wasn't good enough.
Okay, let's move on.
Oh my gosh. You know those memes
You
where
said
they're
no
like,
one liked you.
you know those memes where they're praying and they're like, please send me a man, but not that one.
But not
He
that's
wasn't the one.
That's
That
Gigi.
one.
That's Gigi. She'd be like, please send me a man, please send me a man. Okay,
Except
but
for
not
you.
this one.
Okay,
He just
but
didn't
none
look
of
at me
these.
right.
moving on, though.
Scoot on down
I
the line,
forgot what I was gonna say.
I'm sorry.
No, I forgot what
People
I was
ask me
gonna
why
say.
you don't date anyone, and it's
Oh,
because
oh.
you didn't like any of the choices given.
It's because, like, none of them were mature enough to have simple conversations just like that. And those are conversations that I would like to have, because I'm a very moral person.
You will have to wait. How do you gonna have to wait like 15 more years? 15
Like, I have a lot of rules, personal rules
10
that I
more years.
hold up to myself, you know. And I'm a very spiritual
spiritual person.
Spiritual.
And so, like, those are the type of things that I like to talk about. Like, you know, I want to explain, you know, my flaws and just be upfront and be like, honestly, I'm kind of like this, and I hope that, you know, we could talk about this and blah blah blah. And the guy's just like, yeah, you know, yeah, I play football and blah blah blah. Hey, you want to go to prom? Like, so you know what I mean? Like, it's just like dumb stuff that doesn't matter. I think that's something I learned because, in like my earlier relationships, I was kind of more like, what's the word? I was just kind of going with the flow.